Way number 35 on how to pass the June 2022 Geometry Regents. For cofunction identities, the sine of A is equal to the cosine of B for complementary angles, or angles that add up to 90 degrees. So when you have a right triangle TMR and it's a scalene triangle with right angle at M, which equation is true? So that means the sine of T is equal to the cosine of R, making the answer choice 3. And again, you have a right triangle, the right angle is at M, that makes angles T and R complementary angles, therefore the sine of T equals cosine of R, making the correct answer choice 3. Way number 35 on how to pass the August 2022 Geometry Regents. For cofunction identities, the sine of A is equal to the cosine of B for complementary angles, or angles that add up to 90 degrees. So if scalene triangle XYZ is similar to triangle QRS and measure of angle X equals 90 degrees, which equation is always true? Well, it's going to be choice 4 for this reason. Since triangle XYZ is similar to triangle QRS, then X and Q are equal. They're going to be the 90-degree angles. That means Y and R are going to be equal, and Z and S will be equal. Therefore, if we take out the 90-degree angles, then the sine of Y is equal to the cosine of Z, and the sine of R is equal to the cosine of S, which in turn allows for the sine of R to equal the cosine of Z, since those triangles are similar, making the correct answer choice 4. Way number 35 on how to pass the January 2023 Geometry Regents. For cofunction identities, the sine of A equals the cosine of B for complementary angles, or angles that add up to 90 degrees. Which trigonometric equation is always true for triangle ABC? Well, since this is a right triangle and angle B is your right angle, then A and C will be complementary. So the sine of A is equal to the cosine of C. Way number 35 on how to pass the June 2023 Geometry Regents. For cofunction identities, the sine of A equals the cosine of B for complementary angles, meaning the angles add up to 90 degrees. So here we have two similar triangles. Triangle DOG is similar to triangle CAT, and they tell you angle G and angle T, these two are right angles. That means D and O are going to add up to 90, and A and C are going to add up to 90, and D is going to be similar to C, and O is going to be similar to angle A. So which expression is always equivalent to sine of D? Well, the sine of D is equal to the cosine of O. And because these triangles are similar, the sine of D is also equal to the cosine of A. Way number 35 on how to pass the August 2023 Geometry Regents. For the cofunction identity, the sine of A is equal to the cosine of B for complementary angles, or angles that add up to 90 degrees. So when you have a right triangle like ACT, and they're telling you the measure of angle A is 90 degrees, that means that C and T will need to add up to 90 degrees. So which expression is always equivalent to cosine of T? Well, we're going to go with choice 2, since the sine of A is equal to the cosine of B, then the sine of C is equal to the cosine of T. And that's why choice 2 is correct. Way number 35 on how to pass the January 2024 Geometry Regents. For cofunction identities, the sine of A is equal to the cosine of B for complementary angles, meaning angles that add up to 90 degrees. So which expression is equal to sine of 30? Well, the answer is going to be choice 3, cosine of 60. Sine of 30 equals cosine of 60.